Okay, here it goes, the PowerPoint presentation about the small claims court. First, a little bit about who I am. I'm Cynthia Schmidt, Mrs. Landlady, author and teacher of the Collect Back Rent training course for landlords, and I also have sort of a substation or sub-product buying judgments to collect also. Qualifications, I was asked that one time when I was speaking, which I've spoken 37 states at 58 RIA groups and landlord groups. They said, what degree do you have? Well, I've been 25 years a landlord. That's on the streets. Gary and I, my husband of 45 years, had 75 rental units at one time. I represented myself as pro se in the courthouse in all the cases, and 96 satisfied judgments, over 1,800 collect back rent team members, been in front of the judge about 300 times. The people at the courthouse, the security guards and clerks, all knew who I was and invited me to their children's weddings. So that's my qualifications. So we're going to talk about the small claims court. A little bit different than the eviction court, as I had talked about at the beginning of the presentation. This is when the tenant moves out and left you with damages above the deposit, owing rent, or utility bills. It can be one or all three of them. It's easy to look a blind eye. I only want my place back. Yeah, I want my place back, but I want the money they owe me too. I'm in business here. And when you look a blind eye for people stealing from you, it's not a good business technique. So what's your first step when you pull up to the rental and they just moved out? Well, bring a witness and a digital camera. Why a witness? Because that witness we can have in the court proceedings. Take pictures of all the damages. Change the locks naturally. Empty out everything in garbage bags. Now, Gary and I'd come to the rental and we go, oh, but in a day or two after everything was emptied out, it looked a little better. So don't panic. Get bids for the work. Send out the security deposit with the demand notice, which I'll be talking about later, the demand notice. But the security deposit letter has to be sent out. Usually the 50 states, it's within 30 days of where their deposit went. We never let them use it as rent, always as damages. Because if you let them use it as rent, they're not going to go ahead and clean up. And advise the post office that the tenant moved out. I have a post office change of address for legal process in my move-in kit. But the post office, why do we call them? Because you don't want them coming on your property to look for the mail. And the sooner that you call the post office, the sooner they're going to put in a change of address. So how do we find the former tenants, which is one big question. Courthouse websites. We look in the website, courthouse website where they live. And if they're a defendant in a case, we see if they're in a pending court case, say a traffic court, like in 2 weeks. Then we know we're going to have them served at the courthouse in the hallways coming out of the traffic court. Plus, they could be in some pending court cases where it gives a new change, the new address. People Smart, you have to pay for it. It's good. Mugshots.com, good and interesting. Social media, oh my gosh, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, you name it. We can get them served at, the workout gym and, restaurants, or we can see where they work. It's huge. Family members should be on your rental application. When things get rough, they usually run to their family members. Someone said also, one of my team members, enemies. Yeah, that's a good one. But if we can't find them, we're going to get a licensed process server to do a skip trace. And in my overview manual package, I have 20 websites more that we can use for free. But if we can't Find them at the free websites. We'll have a skip trace done by the licensed process server. They'll find them. There's a money limits on all 50 states for the small claims. For instance, Alabama 6, Florida 5, Georgia 15, 15,000, that's a big one. Illinois 10, Michigan 5,500, Texas 10. So it really ranges between 5,000 to 10,000 to 15 what the money limit is. And that pretty much should cover the damages and the rent. If it's over, we will only sue for that certain amount because we don't want to go into arbitration. It's very expensive. Now, how long do you have to file the statute, the small claims court? Well, for instance, in California, you have 4 years if it's a written contract after they moved out to file your small claims case. 3 years if it's property damage. Now, in Georgia, you got a little longer. 6 years. After they moved out, we got 6 years in Georgia to look them up for the small claims case and 4 years to file for property damage. So this is about average across the 50 states.